I'm mostly wanting to focus on the limited 5 stars. There's like, just ignore the others. It's just a tier list I picked, had like the rest of them, but I'm mostly focusing on the limited 5 stars here. So, yeah, I want to rank the pull value of every limited 5 star in Wuthering the Waves. So, yeah, that's the shenanigans that we're going to be getting up to. We all agree that Brant goes at the top of the list because man hot, right? Good. I'm not actually that into Brant. I think he looks like decent, but I'm not like super into him in that way, honestly. Changli has nice legs. Put her in the highest tier. You know what? You're so true for that. She's an account saver just for that alone. All right. Okay, real talk though. So I'm going to be assuming like S0, R1 at most. We're not going to include sequences, and we're considering all game modes here. So essentially, this isn't just looking at TOA or just Whimpering Wastes. It's like, if you pull for this character, you know, how much value do they add to your overall Wuthering Waves account? So that's kind of the gimmick here. And I'm going to be focusing on the limited 5-star character specifically. Just ignore the rest of these. So without further ado, let's get started. We'll start with Jiyan here. Okay, so the thing with Jiyan is that he still clears pretty well in TOA. Like, there's obviously stronger options than him these days. Like, you know, you got your Carlottas, you got your rinascita DPSs. Yeah, so we've got better options than him for TOA, but he's really good in Whimpering Wastes. And it's not like he's super bad in TOA or anything. He's still quite good there. So in general, you get quite a lot of value out of this package. He's also pretty decent for like tacit field farming and whatnot. However, focusing on endgame specifically, I would say that you get pretty great value out of him, mostly because of Whimpering. I'd say Whimpering really upped his value because you get like decent TOA clears and then really good Whimpering Waste clears. So yeah, I'm gonna put him up in great value here. And you get a lot out of this guy. Oh, another thing I should mention with Jiyan is that his best in slot, second slot teammate is a 4-star character that has been on every single one of his banners. I mean, he's only had 2 banners in fairness, but both of those banners, Mortefi was on there. So he's got a really cheap accessible team. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can still select a free standard 5-star from whenever the game had like the issues of launch, and then they put out that package where you could get a new standard 5-star of your choice. So you can still pick Verena for the final slot, or you could even use like Baichi if you don't have any better options. So for that reason, you get a lot whenever you pull for him. Really good all-rounder, in my opinion. Yeah, it lasts until the anniversary in May. Yeah, no, it's crazy how you can still get that. It's really nice. Just wait until Jiyan's 5-star best in slot. Yeah, that's another thing. Is like, I mean, I believe Kuro already considers Jiyan to be complete, but they could always go back and add something like that, like a new heavy attack buffer for arrow DPSs down the line. I don't really think he's top priority at the minute though. But yeah, the economy is economic. I agree with you. Okay, so those are my thoughts on Jiyan. All right, so here's the thing with Changli. It's a little bit difficult to quantify her value because it completely depends on you as a player. How good Xiangli is how good are you? Are you willing to learn quick swapping? Are you willing to learn her in her best teams? And the better you are as a player, the crazier that this character gets. Like, she can be really useful to you if you're willing to put the effort into learning swap windows for your teams and whatnot. However, if you're a more casual player, or if you're someone that's not really interested in learning complicated swap windows, then her value decreases a lot. I will say that with the recent release of Brant, that has been remedied a little bit because you can play her more like a hyper carry, which is one of the easier teams that you can play with her. However, you're still able to quick swap in that team, which is still the best way to play that team, even considering that Brant's ultra buff fades whenever you swap. So even with that in mind, quick swapping is still the best option for her. Now, with that being said, when you consider the 2 main endgame modes that reset frequently, those being the TOA and Whimpering Wastes, she's really good in Whimpering, especially because dual carry teams are just so good in that game mode due to how there's a lot of trash mobs and you constantly want there to be damage being dealt to those trash mobs. So because of the nature of dual carry teams and how there's pretty much always damage being dished out consistently, you know, Changli ends up being a very good option in that regard, especially because she can front load such a large AoE slash all at once and just like go in there. Now with TOA, you know, it's like I said, very dynamic value. If she's, you know, paired with a DPS that you're able to quick swap with and you're doing that consistently, then she can be pretty crazy there too. Now, I wouldn't say that she's like top tier or anything if you're like an average player, but she can absolutely reach some insane heights. So that's the difficult thing when it comes to ranking Changli. If you're not like a high-end player and you're not willing to put the skill investment into her, then her investment, her value, it's much lower. But in Whimpering Wastes, it's just, you get a lot of value no matter what because of just how you constantly want to be taking out those trash mobs. You don't have to play perfectly, I would say there, just in my opinion. But with TOA, with those, and in those situations, you do kind of want to be able to play a bit better. Juice, are Xiangli Yao and Verena good teammates for Changli? Yes, actually very good. Xiangli Yao quick swap is very good. Generally, whenever Xiangli Yao does one of his longer animations, you swap to Changli to use her abilities. But yeah. So, great value still in my MO. Consistently useful if you learn her a bit, and very good at Whimpering Way specifically. Yeah, pretty much. I'm gonna say, if we assume, like, average player skill, I'm not gonna assume, like, trash player, but I'm not gonna assume crazy speedrunner that's the best at the game. I'm going to actually say she's more valuable than Jiyan. I'd say you get more value out of her than Jiyan. They're both in a situation where both good in TOA, both good in Whimpering Wastes, but I would say that you're able to do a lot more with Changli, especially considering that she's so versatile teams-wise. You don't need Brant for her. Not at all. Not at all. You can make her work in Phoebe, with Carlotta, with Xiangli Yao, with Brant as well. Like, there's just so many situations in which you're able to use this character, and she's just very adaptable for that reason. Like, I'm not gonna say she's an account saver, but she is really high up there, I believe. If you're like even just average in skill, you can still definitely get good mileage out of her. At least that's my opinion. Okay, Changli is the best overworld character. We are forgetting that. That's true. I'm trying to mostly focus on the endgame modes here. Listen, if we're talking about overworld, then I absolutely do think she should go here. That's just because when it comes to overworld, oh my goodness, her overworld prowess is literally like 80% of the reason why I main her. Okay, seriously, this character is just so good in the overworld. It's ridiculous. You sound biased. It is just true that if you're good at the character, she's really solid. Like, look up some crazy Changli runs. I'm telling you, it gets nutty whenever you get to the higher skill levels. However, I will say, if we're talking overworld, then yeah, she absolutely goes up here because, oh my goodness, is she just the most convenient character for dealing with basically everything there is in the main core content of Wuthering Waves. And when you do consider that the game is mostly like overworld exploration and whatnot, then she is actually one of the best pulls you can make in that regard. However, if you're focusing specifically on endgame, I'd say she's great value. Now, holistically speaking for the entire game, I think it is fair to say she's like up here, but I'm going to say that for average player skill level, she goes great value. She absolutely has the potential to go in the highest tier, but you yourself as a player have to have that potential. I place her below Jiyan if overworld isn't considered. Jiyan Mortefi is stupidly easy and works everywhere very well. Plus top WuWa team. I get what you mean, but with Changli, you can literally put her with like anyone and she'll do well, assuming that you're at least of average skill. That's kind of part of my thought process here, right? Because of Jiyan, he has like an accessible 4-star teammate that's always on his banners, so that's sorted for him. But with Changli, you know, so many teams that she's good in all of them, you know? I love her kit, she's very fun to use. I'm with you on that, Who pulls for overworld though? Yeah, I mean, just people who like the character. Ultimately, you should be pulling for characters you like first and foremost, but that kind of goes without saying. I do love my Changli though, true. Lots of Changli fans are in chat today. Well, I myself am a Changli fan, so that checks out. But yeah, I can see the argument, but do you not think that the versatility would be a factor in putting her above, like, if assuming average skill level? Like, true, Jiyan is absolutely so easy to play. It's like ridiculously easy to use the guy. At least those are my thoughts. I think this is fair enough. But I can see the argument for putting Jiyan above, but I just feel like Changli, you get a little bit more value in TOA though, no? Not gonna lie, who else are you gonna slot more Mortefi with? Phoebe, she has other options. You're kind of guaranteed to have Jiyan's best options. That's fair. I feel like the most versatile characters in Wuthering Waves are Jiyan and Jinhsi. They're both very easy to use. And hello, Walking Clouds. What's up? Okay, I can see the argument, but it's like, okay, you can use Changli with Phoebe. That's pretty good in my experience. It's pretty good. You can use Changli, well, you know, Brant's a given. Xiangli Yao, a lot of older players have that character for free. Obviously, we can't really consider that. I just assume that everyone has him anymore because 2.0 brought in a lot of players. Carlotta, But then again, you would rather just use her with Zhezhi. Okay, I can kind of see your point. I can see your point. I think we're hopefully in agreement with this so far. Okay, right. Next up, we have Camellya here. So I'm actually going to go as far as to say that she's an account saver. And that's for a couple of reasons. You get really good TOA clears, like some really, really good TOA clears, while getting really, really solid Whimpering Waste clears. Like she's like one of the best character for Whimpering Wastes. She is the best character for Whimpering Wastes, right? It does not get better than her for Whimpering. I mean, Changli's really good too for Whimpering, but it does not get better than Camellya for Whimpering Wastes. And then in TOA, she's solid, right? So if you consider solid is actually an understatement. She's quite great. She's great. She's not on the levels of like Carlotta, Jinhsi, the absolute top echelon, but she is definitely, scratching the surface of that. She's really strong there. You're getting great mileage out of her. She's super easy to use. Like, she has got to be I disagree. She's kind of dead in holograms. I'd place her below Jiyan. I'm not really considering holograms because they don't reset, but if we do consider holograms, I suppose I could move her down. But if you consider the resetting content, like, Camellya is really freaking good because she's just stupidly easy in easy to use and really good in whimpering and really good in TOA. Camellya feels clunky in her skill, or is it just me? It can be easily interrupted. You said overall account value, to me that would include holograms. Okay, right. That's fair enough. I mean, below Jiyan, though, are we sure? Because she's, like, really, really easy to use. And for me, it's the fact that you get such a good TOA character and such a good Whimpering Waste character. Like, the best Whimpering Waste character. The best Whimpering Waste character. And then a really, really solid TOA character, Okay, fair. I see that argument. Yeah, like, when you get the best character for Whimpering, right? She's so good in multi-wave. Sanhua is free. Okay, Sanhua is free. And Roccia is really good in Whimpering, right? So you get, like, the highest possible potential Whimpering team. Even if you only use Sanhua, because most people skip Roccia, let's be real, you still get really, really nice value out of her. Just great in multi-wave. And just piss easy to use. Let's be so real. Like, I would say these two, they're both ridiculously easy when it comes to ease of use. So anyone can use them well. But with Camellya, it's just like, you get, stupidly good overall value, Because yes, there's better TOA options, but she's still high up there as one of the better ones. And then you get, like, the best possible for another game mode, She's still better than Jiyan Mortefi with Sanhua. The character is so broken in WuWa, it's not even funny. Yeah, that's the thing. She dominates that game mode to a stupid extent. I think Jiyan is better than Camellya in WuWa. No, I do believe Camellya is better. Like, the thing is, with Jiyan, you still want to get his burst up frequently. With Camellya, you just pop that red hair skill and you just go. It's kind of stupid how good she is. She's kind of stupid how good she is. And she does play kind of clunky because of the fact that she doesn't move while in her red hair mode. I do personally dislike that aspect of her kit as well. I'm actually in agreement that I don't love that she doesn't really move around whenever you're in the red hair mode. I'm with you on that. However, even in Whimpering Waste, it just doesn't really matter. Like, you just get rid of all the trash mobs so easily, and you don't really need the huge mobility in Whimpering, in my experience at least. And in TOA, it's manageable enough. But yeah, she's fine enough if you dash around. Grapple also helps. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. I would say in that regard, like, Camellya, great value out of her, just holistically for an entire account. Sweat does make a point that, when it comes to holograms, she's a little bit rougher when it comes to, like, getting interrupted and stuff. But for the rest of your account, you're basically sorted if you have this character. Especially for WuWa. It's actually stupid how good she is in WuWa. Okay, so with Zhezhi, right, here's the thing. She's really good for two of some of this game's best characters. She's good for Jinhsi, and she's good for Carlotta, right? And those are two stupidly broken characters, right? I honestly feel like she's one of the top best pulls that you can make in terms of limited 5 stars. Like, I do think she's one of the best pulls that you can make. Being that good with one of the best DPSs in the game, that's a huge deal. Being good with Carlotta, that's not a small thing. Being good with Jinhsi, that's not a small thing either. She's really easy to play. Jump canceling is probably one of the most easy techniques to learn. It's really not that difficult to learn how to do jump canceling in this game. Like, you just press spacebar, press jump if you're on mobile. After she teleports to your cranes, it's quite foolproof. You just gotta learn the timing. And once you've got that down, she's honestly fantastic. She can do pretty good personal damage if you give her a String Master or a Signature, but let's be realistic, most people are probably giving her String Master. And all in all, her outro skill is just absolutely busted for Carlotta. She's so good in that regard. She's really, really good. Now, for that reason, I believe that, like, maybe an account saver's pushing it a little bit, but I do think that you're getting ridiculous mileage out of her. The assessment can be argued against, but it's totally justified. Having Zhezhi makes holos way too easy. Yeah, TOA becomes a breeze. WuWa requires a bit more effort, but still works. Nothing to really say against Zhezhi. She's like the closest to a perfect support, in my opinion. The closest to a perfect support. She is so freaking good. It's actually absurd, you know? But yeah, waiting for her rerun. Absolutely, I understand why. She's just busted. On a run as a first pick, though, her value isn't very high. I mean, yes, you do want Carlotta and Jinhsi, but you have to consider that Jinhsi and Carlotta are two very easy to play, powerful DPSs that are some of the best characters in the game, right? Like, Carlotta is stupid good, you know? You just really need to have Carlotta to justify her in WuWa, but that's fine in IMO, especially when you consider that Carlotta is, like, as of now, I think we can all say that she's the best DPS in the game. So you can really, really justify getting this unit. And the fact that she's good for Jinhsi too, I know that obviously for most people, their Carlottas are going to be busy with, or sorry, their Jinhsi, their Zhezhis are going to be busy with their Carlottas if they have Carlotta and Jinhsi. But if you don't have Carlotta, but you do have Jinhsi, you're still making pretty good use out of this character. So, yeah. People hated me when I said Zhezhi's the second best teammate in the game. I said that, or a best second slot teammate in the game. Yeah, I do believe it. For second slot teammates, as far as they go, you don't really get better than Zhezhi. She's just so perfect. If they made a spectral flavor Zhezhi, that'd be really good for Jinhsi, you know? Really good teammate. No negative notes here. Okay, so Jinhsi. Now, the thing with Jinhsi is that she is busted in TOA. Like, she is a very strong DPS if we're just looking at in terms of raw damage. Like, she does crazy high nukes. And you can actually learn some more complicated techniques of her if you're a high-end player, but for the average player, she's so easy to use. A couple of basic attacks, and then you can use her skill, do a nuke. Like, it's a very easy playstyle to get behind, not that complicated whatsoever. So that's great. Pretty much anyone can access her. In Whimpering Wastes, she's not great. I mean, she's still, like, decent, absolutely, but she's not as busted as, say, you know, the likes of Camellya or Changli is in Whimpering. She can still, you know, work, but it's not ideal because her multi-wave can be a little bit awkward. But yeah, busted in TOA, busted in Holos, good in WuWa if you learn her. You can't even try to tell me this character isn't meta. Yeah, like Jinhsi is absolutely, like, one of the most meta characters, right? And for that reason, I do believe that she's an account saver. Like, you pull for Jinhsi, you're pretty much sorted for almost all content. Yes, she's a bit more awkward in Whimpering Wastes compared to the rest of the ones here, but you can still make her work. It's not like it's impossible to use Jinhsi in Whimpering. It's just that she's not as comfortable as the others. And considering the performance you get in TOA and the performance you can get against holograms, it's honestly worth it. Like, it's honestly well worth it. Now, I'm going to put the support above the DPS. I'm not sure if anyone's in disagreement with that, just because I find that with Zhezhi, right? She's supporting two really strong DPSs, and then, you know, Jinhsi's one of those strong DPSs. But I do believe that if you pull for Jinhsi, you're absolutely getting a lot of value out of her. Another thing I should add is that she can be played totally free to play, very strong, just because her baseline is that good. If you play her with Yuanwu, who's a free character, you'll get a lot of performance out of her, you know? Like, she's still really busted, even on a totally free-to-play team, because that's just how good she is at base, you know? So, yeah, Jinhsi, absolute account saver. Absolute account saver. So, then we have, Roccia. Okay, well, Roccia, it's a little rough. It's a little rough, because, like, she's good at Whimpering Wastes, but that's pretty much it. You just don't really have a reason to get her outside of WuWa stuff. Because, okay, she's good with Camellya in Whimpering. Otherwise, in TOA, just use Sanhua. I can't really justify saying, oh yeah, get this limited 5-star that costs like a ton of pulls so that you can free up your Sanhua. It's like, there's other ways to free up Sanhua for characters. You don't really need to pull Roccia in specific to do that for you. Can be useful, perfectly describes Roccia to me. You know, it's like, she can be useful, but she just doesn't really, you know, you don't really need her. Like, I'm honestly close to saying she's neutral, but because of Whimpering, I don't really want to say that she's just neutral. Like, she has her place. She'll work with Camellya, and you'll get your mileage out of her, but you don't, or your kilometerage, as I like to say. But, you're not gonna really be needing her. Like, you'll be fine with just Sanhua with your Camellya, to be honest. I honestly feel like it's a bit of a waste of pulls compared to all the other characters in this game that you can get, but it's you know, it's not like she's like total unplayable garbage. My Sanhua's S6, so I'll never pull for Roccia. Like, that's the thing. It's just there's no reason to, you know, pick up Roccia when Sanhua exists. Like, Roccia will be such a good character. She would be so good if Sanhua didn't exist. But because Sanhua exists, it's just way harder to justify getting the character, you know? She can be useful, but that's pretty much the extent of it. Okay, now with Phoebe, she is like ultimate free-to-play value. If you're a free-to-play player in this game, you can honestly get quite a lot out of your Phoebe because she has a completely free-to-play team. Her best install team right now is Sanhua and Spectre Rover. Both of those characters are free. Both of those characters are free, okay? So you can literally pull this character after just starting the game and get really good value out of her. The fishing event recently gave her a great free-to-play friendly option. She's also able to use the craftable quite well because it works with negative statuses, which is kind of her whole gimmick. That's the whole thing that she likes to operate around. So yeah, you got that going for her. Her damage in TOA is just really good. She's a bit more awkward. It's kind of the same with Jinhsi, where it's like she's a bit more awkward in Whimpering Waste because you constantly want to reapply Spectral Frazzle to the enemies. But if you can manage that, then, you know, it's still workable. And she can still dual carry with, like, Changli there, you know? Or, sorry, Changli can dual carry with her. That's what I meant to say. But yeah, so you can still make her work in that game mode. She's, like, decent in holograms in my experience. You honestly get quite a lot of value out of her, and her damage is only, like, a little lower than Jinhsi's. Like, Jinhsi does do more damage, but it's not, like, a gap so large to the point where it makes Phoebe look bad, you know? She's really solid. I actually am inclined to say that she's an account saver. Yes, she doesn't have the whimpering prowess of Camellya or Changli, but I would say that for what you get out of her, she does definitely deserve to be in the top tier, in my opinion. All right. At least those are my thoughts. She's really, really strong. I'd say she's even a bit underrated. I've seen some people just not really believing. We're not even using Confession State. Like, that's the thing. We don't even have a use for her sub-DPS state yet. Whenever we do eventually get a use for that, her value is only going to get higher. Like, she's a very high value character, in my opinion. Very, very, very high value character. So, for that reason, I'm putting her up there. Okay, now, with Yinlin. Okay, Yinlin's a bit awkward because it's like, she really wants signature. Now, we are assuming S0R1 in fairness. We're assuming that she has her signature weapon. Nice boobs. Yeah, pretty much. We were assuming that she has String Master, so we can't be unfair here and say, oh, you know, she needs String Master. Yeah, well, we're assuming that she has that here. However, even if you have String Master, there just isn't really a need for her. I'm gonna put her above Roccia. She can be useful. Yinlin can be useful. It's kind of like just Xiangli Yao or Jinhsi if you don't have Zhezhi. Pretty much. It's like, if your Zhezhi is busy with your Carlotta, you can use your Yinlin with your Jinhsi. Otherwise, casual Xiangli Yao teams, that works too. You know, that'll work. That'll be fine as well. She does decent personal damage, but if you're good at quick swapping Xiangli Yao with Changli, then you don't really need her. And if you have Zhezhi, or if you want to pair even Yuanwu with Jinhsi, then you don't really need to, you know, prefer. Obviously, she's going to be better than using Yuanwu, but you know, she's not a necessity by any means. And that's assuming you have String Master, right? I honestly feel like most people should be getting String Master before they even consider pulling for Yinlin, because that's just how good String Master is, okay? Like, String Master is, like, stupidly good. It's actually kind of ridiculous how good String Master is. So, like genuinely, like, second best rectifier for, like, every rectifier user. It's kind of crazy. So, she can be good. I'd say she's better than Roccia in terms of pull value, but you really don't need the character anymore. That's pretty much the dealio with her. Thank God Yinlin exists. Without her, String Master wouldn't be a thing. Exactly. Yinlin's greatest contribution to the Wuthering Waves meta was introducing String Master. Like, that was her greatest contribution. So then we have Xiangli Yao. So the thing with Xiangli Yao, he was free at one point, but we're not going to assume that anymore just because, you know, it's been a while. And, you know, nowadays you got to pull for the guy. So I would say he's quite a good DPS, honestly. He's really nice in TOA. He's really casual friendly. His time slow is very interesting. He can do some more like technical stuff with Changli, quick swapping and whatnot. I would say he's great value. You'll get good mileage out of him. He does or kilometerage. You'll get good kilometerage out of him. His damage is good. He performs well in most endgames. Like there's you know, nothing really negative to say about him. I wouldn't say not pulling for him because you guys got him for free. Yeah, I do indeed have him for free. We got him like back in it was 1.2, I believe. Yeah, we got him in 1.2, I think. But yeah, I believe that like nowadays much less people have him though because it's been a while since then. Xiangli Yao is also pretty good in Hollows thanks to his enemy slow mechanic. Yeah, exactly. So you'll get pretty good you get pretty good value out of this guy. He can be played more casually with Yinlin, which is one of her use cases, which is why she's, you know, able to be a bit useful. And yeah, nothing overly negative to say about this guy. He's pretty decent. It's just that the rest of these choices are either like better in TOA or for like better in Whimpering respectively. But he's good. You'll do pretty well. He just works well everywhere for everyone. Defines great value. Yeah, pretty much. He is great in value. There's, you know, nothing much else to say here. If you're considering, don't worry if you missed out on him back in 1.2. I'd say he's still worth getting now if you're interested in him. And with that being said, like, you know, because like you would assume, oh, okay, he was free once, does that mean he's bad? No, not at all. He's very good. If you're someone who's not particularly aware of this guy, he's good. All right. So Shorekeeper is right. Oh yeah, Shorekeeper sucks, guys. Oh, why would you ever want a Shorekeeper? She's so stinky. Why would you ever want a Shorekeeper, huh? Well, obviously she's an account saver. That's not even a question. Shorekeeper is broken. She is single-handedly the best limited 5-star pull that you can make in this game. Like, no one else beats Shorekeeper in terms of pull value. But Shorekeeper is just Verena too. She's bad. Oh, obviously, yeah, she sucks. Surely. I don't play PGR, but I'm told that Kuro buffs older characters. I'm hoping they buff Yinlin and Calculator. I do think they will at some point. Okay, Calculator, I don't have much faith. Yinlin, like, she did get Imperium Anthem, but like, they'll probably indirectly buff her down the line. They already did. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of Shorekeeper, listen, like, you literally can't get better than Shorekeeper. She is an amazing third slot teammate, great healer, great buffer. She benefits essentially every single character. There is no team in which your Shorekeeper is bad. Literally the only kind of downside she's got going for her is like maybe field time. She takes a bit longer to set up than Verena because you have to, you know, fill her concerto bar and stuff, and she needs intro skills. But other than that, she's so good. She's stupidly good. Like, I would wholeheartedly recommend, if you don't have Shorekeeper, pull for her. Get her as soon as you possibly can because she is just that good. She's just that good, man. Like, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd make a tier just for her. You know what? You're honestly right. We need to, Shorekeeper needs her own tier. I'll name it. In WuWa with pull value. There we go. Right, she's getting her own tier because she's just that good. She is genuinely deserving of her own tier. Like, this character is just a cut above the rest in terms of how worth it she is, you know, in terms of Astrite value. It's honestly kind of ridiculous how strong she is. Like, the thing is, when it comes to third slot teammates, right? Right now we have, you know, Verena, we have Shorekeeper, Baichi, and no one's using Yohu. Let's not cope here, right? So, because there's 3 teams that you want in TOA, right? We have to get at least 2 more third slot healers like her before, you know, we can even dream of her being replaced. I don't think she's going to be replaced for a very long time. This character is going to be good for the foreseeable future. Like, I really don't think that she's going to fall off anytime soon. Definitely one of the most valuable characters. Now, this assumes S0 R1, but to be honest, you don't really need the R1 unless you're a really high investment player. You can get by just fine on like an R5 variation. You don't really need her signature. Shorekeeper is the only character I'd say is a must pull. Yeah, like, I know people really hate the whole must pull phrase because no, I don't, you know, it implies that you have to get the character. Listen, you don't have to get her, but you know, it's like, you don't have to, but come on, she'll make your game experience just so much better. You're not going to regret her. Pull for this character, you're not going to regret her, like, not even a little bit. Name the tier wife. Nah, I don't want to date her, sorry. But R5, I can't even get a second variation. Even if you only have R1 variation, she'll still get by fine. She's totally fine at R1. You don't need the, y'all have variation. Oh, Sweat can actually relate to you on that. He didn't have one for like a couple of months. But yo, that's the thing. Kuro even went out of their way to put a rectifier in the game that you can find like through, it's like a quest in Facilio Falls, the 3 Towers quest with like the treasure bandits. Finish that and you get a free-to-play friendly option for her. So, like, you know, there's so many ways that you can build her in that regard. She does pretty good damage too on her outro skill if you do actually put the effort in to put enough crit damage on her and stuff. It's obviously not a necessity, but it's like a nice bit of extra damage. Nothing game breaking, but it's there. It's definitely there. You know, I will say it's actually interesting. We don't actually have any big wastes or anything like that. So far, everyone's been useful or above. But yeah, so Shorekeeper, cannot glaze her enough. Like, seriously, I could go on glazing this character for ages. Get her if you can, right? So yeah, Shorekeeper, she definitely takes the cake as the best character in the game, for sure. Okay, so Brant, Wuthering Waves. Okay, so I'm assuming S0R1. I'm assuming signature weapons. I would like to highlight now, if you don't have a signature weapon, then bro is a whole lot stinkier, okay? You do really want a signature weapon, you know, in order for him to do good damage. Yeah, S0R1, great value, 100%. If you have a signature, he's really solid. I'm gonna put him here because he's basically like a second Changli in a sense. I would say with Changli, you're able to, you know, there's a higher skill ceiling with her because of swap canceling and whatnot, and quick swapping and all that, sorry. Yeah, you're able to quick swap very easily with Changli. With Brant, he's very hungry for field time, so it's harder to do it with him. However, you can still manage. He's a really good second stall teammate in general. He's amazing with Changli. Really, really strong team. If you play those two together, it's actually absurd how just fun and smooth the gameplay is. Really, really good team comp. The Changli buff that all of us Phoenix Lady enjoyers have been waiting for. Just great team in general, these two. Great pair, great pair. I really, really like him, like his gameplay in that regard. He offers a lot. He shields, he heals. He's very easy. Okay, his rotation, it's so hard, guys. You gotta use alt. You have to hold left click, and then you have to hold left click again, and then press skill. Oh no, that's so difficult. Like, it's so easy. And then he does a massive nuke. I will say, okay, something annoying about his gameplay is when he gets interrupted, because he does get interrupted quite easily, and unfortunately his shield doesn't provide interruption resistance of any kind. His I4, which provides him a 50% interruption res, is supposed to kind of help with that, but unfortunately it's still not perfect. He still does end up finding himself getting knocked out of his anchor sometimes, or sometimes you can literally miss the freaking anchor. Like, that can be annoying, but that's more so like a gameplay issue, and it's not grounds for his value to be lowered or anything. It's just kind of an annoying thing that you'll notice after playing him for quite a bit. He does feel really good to play, though. And he's really, we're not considering Overworld here, but it'd be criminal of me to not mention how good he is in Overworld, especially considering that he works with Changli, another great Overworld character, but that's, like, separate from this tier list. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there because, you know, it is absolutely a great quality of his that doesn't need remain. So, in terms of TOA, great. Whimpering Wastes, he's stupidly good at whimpering because what you can do, you don't even have to play Changli with Brant. You can play Changli dual carrying with one character, play Brant with another character, and then you have two really solid teams for whimpering. He can also play more unconventional synergies because he buffs skill percent and fusion percent on his outro, right? So he doesn't just have to play with fusion DPSs, he can also play with DPSs that benefit from skill percent, such as Carlotta, for example. It's not going to be as good as using Changli, but it's still something that works. So you actually get quite a lot of value out of him at S0R1. I will say, if you don't have his R1, his value does drop quite drastically, unfortunately. You don't get nearly as good as, nearly as much value out of him in that case, but you do still get good value. But yeah, only fault I see is Brant, he's hard to build, that's all. His kit is literally an account saver. I wouldn't really say he's an account saver. Like, listen, I'm saying this as someone who has a really positive opinion on Brant. I actually really enjoy, I actually do really enjoy his gameplay. I think he works really well in endgame. Like, he absolutely is satisfactory, and I'm a Changli main, so obviously I'm benefiting a lot from him, right? And I say that he's amazing for the average player, but to say he's an account saver, like, not really. I wouldn't really say he's on the level of, like, you know, the issue of calling him an account saver is I just don't really think he's on the level of Jinhsi or Zhezhi or Phoebe, you know? Like, those characters are kind of a cut above the rest in terms of pull value, but Brant, he's still up there. He's still a good character to pull for, like, by all means. Yes, he's still strong for sure. But I would say that if Changli is below Jiyan, I would say that Brant is below Changli. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about it logically here, because, like, Changli, higher skill ceiling, and also I would say that she's just more versatile in general. Brant, he's also very versatile, but he's not able to abuse swap windows as well. And even so, because of his field time greed and whatnot, but he does provide you with a lot. The healing is very comfortable. However, you still want to use a healer in your third slot for the sake of buffing, because when you're using someone like Shorekeeper, you're not just using her for sustenance, you're using her for the sake of the buffing as well, right? But even so, it's a lovely piece of quality of life that he offers, and his nukes are actually pretty significant. His nukes are definitely significant. Like, his forte does a stupid amount of damage, you know? Jojo, account saver, thank you very much for following. A QA Beast, really appreciate it. Jojo's an account saver because she works well with Jinhsi, and she works well with Carlotta, both of which are very, very strong DPSs, and she works in all game modes, including holograms, you know? To this day, I only have 2 event 5 stars in Wuthering Waves, Shorekeeper and Carlotta. I forgot how to play both of them since. Well, I will say that at least you're starting off strong, because both of them are really good characters. If you don't have Zhezhi, you can play Carlotta with Yang or Sanghua. But yeah, so for that reason, I think putting Brant here is fair placement. He is pretty new, you know, he's pretty new. Everyone is still trying to discover him and just figure out things and whatnot. But I would say that with what we know now, this is a fair placement for him. Valuable, you get great value out of him for sure, but I wouldn't put him any higher or lower than this. I will say, you don't have his weapon, he'd be knocked down a tier, because goddamn, you're missing out on damage, man. But as it stands, I say this is fair. Okay, so then we arrive at Carlotta. So Carlotta, good old John Carlotta here. She is a very, very strong unit, great DPS, and I would go as far as to say she is the best, the best TOA DPS in the game. The best TOA DPS in the game, and that's just because content is really favoring single target right now, right? And because content is favoring single target, she's thriving, naturally. Really, really good character. I would say that in Whimpering Wastes, she's a bit more awkward. You have to be able to position her well and play her well if you want to be able to take advantage of her in Whimpering Wastes. Especially because she's so single target centric, and that game mode is all about trash mobs and such. It can be remedied a bit if you play her with like Changli for quick swap. But in any case, she can be a little clunky in that regard. However, you can make it work. You can make it work. She's very smooth to play. She's very smooth to play in TOA. She's great against holograms in my experience. Really, really nice of the whole thing where she's able to also stop the enemy's movement for a little bit with her skill. I do believe that she's an account saver. I'm just trying to think, would I put her above the other two? Because I do think her Whimpering Waste performance is a little bit iffy. It works. It definitely works. I'm just trying to think. Would I put her above the... Okay. I'd say probably better than Phoebe. But am I putting her above Jinhsi? Because I feel like Jinhsi's a little better in Whimpering Wastes. Right. I think that just by virtue of being such a broken DPS, she should go above the other two. Like, she's a really good DPS. I love Carlotta. Hey, we all do. We all do. She's hella awesome. She's hella awesome, bro. Jeez, Carlotta's better than Jojo pull value-wise. Tell me I'm wrong. Are we sure? Because Jojo can work for both Jinhsi and Carlotta, though, no? Like, I would say that getting Jojo is also a huge value increase for Carlotta, no? I would argue Xiangli Yao is an account saver because he does amazing damage, time stops, and crowd control. He is really good, but I'm not sure if I would put him, like, I would say, like, Phoebe's also got, like, amazing ease of use and can just, like, freeze the enemy a bit, you know? I do think Xiangli Yao is really good, but I wouldn't put him in account saver, per se. I'd put her above Jinhsi. You know, I think Carlotta is definitely above the other two, but I'm skeptical to say that she's above Jojo just because she's, like, Jojo's, like, kind of crazy good. But, you know, she's, like, for me, it's, like, bro. Carlotta's a hologram go by far, the TOA go by far, is viable, and WuWa has alternative options. You play either Quick Swap or someone like Yang. Yeah, for me, my issue is Whimpering Wastes. Like, isn't Carlotta a bit awkward in Whimpering Wastes? Jojo needs Carlotta or Jinhsi. Carlotta needs herself. I mean, you do make a point with that. You do make a point with that. Okay. Now I'm wondering, should I put Jojo above or below Carlotta? Because, like, they're both all-star characters. They're both account savers. Okay, you make a point. I feel like if someone pulls for Jojo without the other two, then she's not so much an account saver. Who are you going to use? Or if you Ling Yang, that's not... he's not a character. But then you got Carlotta, who absolutely can carry an account on her own. Carlotta in WuWa is better than Jojo. Jojo will only go up value in the future. I think it does make sense to put Jojo below Carlotta just because... Like, Sweat makes a point that if you have Carlotta on her own, your account is saved. If you have Jojo on your own, you're not gonna, you know, that's not saving your account. Thanks, I'll tell him when she reruns. Yeah, cool. Camellya is not a bad recommendation either. But, yeah, I think that's actually a fair assessment. So, do we have any opposition systems? You know what I find crazy? I was actually expecting there to be at least, like, one or two, like, bad ones. but basically no limited 5-star is actually that garbage. Like they're all pretty good. There's not even a single one here that's like at least neutral. I mean, okay, I feel like Roccia could be neutral, but she can be useful, you know. But yeah, that makes her not an account saver. I mean, Yinlin should be bricks. True. I do believe that Zhezhi is quite an account saver just because of how good she is with 2 good strong DPSs. But if you're going by that logic, make a point. No way Zhezhi's that high, which is handicapped in WuWa endgame mode and these other account savers to save her. Carlotta, Jinhsi, Camellya, and Brant all carry accounts more than Zhezhi, no? While you do make a point with that, it's just that Carlotta and Jinhsi are such high value pulls that she ends up being a really strong support by association, you know? Juice is an account saver. Oh, it's so nice of you. Thank you very much. Carlotta saved my life. She needs to go up 2 tiers. Bro, there isn't even 2 more tiers for her to go up. Okay. I believe that this is pretty reasonable. I'm not sure if I put Zhezhi above or below VC. Usually I value the supports more than the DPSs because the support can be used in more situations. And anytime we get like a glacial DPS or a skilled DPS, like Zhezhi's gonna be good, you know? Okay, I'm actually quite okay. I'm quite lost here as to who I should put higher. Carlotta's really freaking good, especially if we assume signature weapon. Even without signature, she's broken on static mist. Like my Carlotta's on static mist, and she still diffs every other character on my account. It's kind of crazy. Okay, I'm inclined to put Zhezhi here. My assessment is Carlotta works better in WuWa than Zhezhi because she's totally fine, if not better in dual DPS, as someone like Changli. Okay, right. I think this is a fair enough list. I think this is a fair enough list in terms of Wuthering Waves pull value. Are we in general agreement here? I think this is fair enough. There's literally no bad characters. That actually kind of surprises me. But yeah, I think this is pretty much a fair assessment. It's ranked within tiers. We can pretty much all agree that, you know, Shorekeeper's up here. The rest of them are like relatively well organized, I would say. I maybe put Brant above Changli, and that's it. Are we sure? Because I feel like with Brant, with Changli, you get more use out of her in certain teams, no? Yeah. Brant has beefy heals and shields for hollows, makes them way easier. Changli doesn't have that. Right. Fair enough. Point made. But yeah, I think that's actually a good point, considering that at least with Brant, he's also easier to use, and we're assuming average skill here, and he does provide some extra goodies that Changli does not. I was assuming Changli will be better because she has more swap windows, and she's able to utilize swap windows. Yeah, or no, not that she has more swap windows, sorry. She's able to utilize swap windows a bit better, but I suppose with average player skill, like, Brant's probably going to be better. I think Brant's more valuable than Changli. I think that's fair to say. Okay, everyone. This is the final list. This is the final. I think this is the most solid full value tier list for Wuthering Waves, the game in which the waves are wuthering. Yeah, very, very cool, very, very nice and epic. So gamer, so great. Everyone, your contributions were greatly appreciated. Very, very, very demure. Yeah, exactly. Dare I say, scrumptious, perchance. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with this. I think this checks out.